I'm a content creator who wants to figure out how to make money creating content. I've been blogging since 2014. I've written 2 books, 2017, 2019, one for freelancers, one for small business owners. I started my podcast in the pandemic during 2020. And this year, 2025, I got serious about YouTube. And as part of getting serious about YouTube, I also got serious about figuring out a business model to be able to earn income as a content creator so that I could do more of it. So if that's you, if that's something you're interested in doing, if that's a journey that you're on, I'd invite you to join me on this journey. In this video, I'm going to share with you what I learned last month on YouTube. What are the lessons I learned? What worked? What didn't? And how am I going to pivot, not just this month, but also next month? And next month's going to be my final month for the year before I take a break. And I'll actually take a break through December and probably part of January. And then I'll kick things off in January with YouTube as well as my other content creation efforts. In this video, I'm going to talk about some of the lessons that I've learned this past month of YouTubing. I started the year at 68 subscribers, and as of recording this, I've got 377 subscribers. So I've been able to grow by over 300 subscribers in 10 months. It's gone a bit slower than I was hoping for, but I'm still making progress, and for that, I am grateful. I've also gotten 2 sponsorships this year, which was an unexpected win for me as part of moving towards my goal of earning $100,000 as a content creator. In this video, I'm going to share more about my journey, what's worked, what hasn't, and hopefully it'll give you some lessons, some inspiration as you're working your way towards monetization, as I am as well. One of the things that I like to do is to think about a goal and break it down into smaller pieces as possible. And so for YouTube, to get monetized, we need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. So if we were to divide the 4,000 watch hours, which has to be done within 365 days, if we were to divide that 4,000 by 365, we would get about 11 watch hours per day. And so that actually seems realistic. That seems like something we can do, something accomplishable. Now, to be able to do that on a consistent, steady basis, day after day throughout the year, that's where it gets more challenging. But just to get to 11 hours in one day, I've certainly done that many times. But how often can I keep doing that is the key. And can I build a library of content that does a lot of the heavy lifting for me so the new content is building upon that foundation? When I look at last month, I was averaging between 3 to 4 watch hours per day. Early in the year, I went really hard at doing a ton of videos every single month. Then I pulled back in the middle of the year doing just a few videos in a month. And I took those 2 extremes and figured out a sweet spot for me, which was 26 videos per month, with about half of those being video clips, not shorts, but actually wide format videos, but clips from my podcast, and using those to help build out my library of content around specific topics that we dealt with in the podcast. And then the other half were fireside chats like this, where I'm talking to the camera, or other creative type of videos. My goal was to do 26 new videos per month and to be able to get at least 100 watch hours each month doing that. And so last month I fell just short of 100, but I got pretty close. If I continue to do 26 videos per month over the course of the next year, I'll be able to get monetized sometime in 2026. If I become more effective, I get better at what I'm doing, that'll certainly accelerate it. But just based on my history and how effective I am at doing what I have been doing, that's what I've come up with as a plan to get towards my goal. One of the interesting things about this journey is how long it's taking me. It's going to probably take me 2 years to get monetized. Unfortunately, I thought I could make it happen quicker. I thought I could sort of force the issue, but I've got a lot of learning to do, and I've got a lot of things I've got to put in place. I'm also trying to do some things that are probably harder to grow a YouTube channel than other approaches. But I wrote this book in 2017 called Path of the Freelancer. And one of the things I mention in the book, and that I just discovered in the journey of freelancing and talking with other freelancers, is it takes about 2 years to really get established as a freelancer and start making it work. Now, the thing about it for me is that I owned a marketing agency for about 7 years. I learned a lot of lessons, and I took those lessons with me, and I had a huge network of people that I had met and connected with. And a lot of other facets really came together and allowed me to be successful as a freelancer within just a few months of starting, from shutting down my marketing company and starting freelancing. I was able to skip the 2-year experience and that most freelancers have to go through to get to the end of the tunnel, to get towards sustainability. Being able to skip that was pretty awesome. I had ups and downs in those first few years as I was steadying things out and building the foundation. But for the most part, I had a lot of success very quickly, and it continued to build. And now I earn 6 figures working part-time as a freelancer, which allows me to then create content like this in the rest of my time and build my content creation business. My thought was, as when I went into YouTube, I could skip the 2-year journey and just go right to winning like I had with my freelancing. But it turns out I didn't know enough. I didn't have enough in place. I just was missing too many things to be able to skip the Crucible experience of that 2 years to get from a nobody on YouTube to getting monetized. And so that's been a humbling experience for me to realize, okay, this is going to be harder and take longer than I was expecting. So I need to do it in a more sustainable way. So I pulled back, figure out the perfect number of videos. And so I'm going to do that through November. So October and November will be the last 2 months where I do 26 videos, and then December taking that break, and then in part of January. And then in January, I'll kick it back up, do somewhere around 26 videos throughout 2026. I'll continue to do my 20-mile march, which comes from Jim Collins. If you're familiar with him, he wrote the book Good to Great. And the 20-mile march, I believe, comes from his book that comes after that. It's called Choosing Great. And he talks about these 2 Antarctic racers. They were racing against each other to get to the South Pole, if I remember right. There was one that was successful, and there was one that failed and actually died in the race. And so the one that was successful, one of the things that he did is he had a 20-mile march. Every day he did 20 miles, no matter what, he did it. If it was hard, he just pushed himself. And if he couldn't get to 20, he got pretty close. He got to 18 or 19. And if he had a really good day where the wind was at his back and it was a clear ahead of them, he could do twice that number of miles because he had the discipline and the self-control in place to be able to take advantage of those opportunities. Where the other guy, he didn't have that same discipline. And so he was just doing whatever the circumstances allowed him to do. And so the person that failed just underperformed that 20-mile march because they didn't have that. They didn't have that commitment nor that discipline. And when the opportunity came, they might have gone over the 20 miles, maybe 22, 23. But the guy that was successful, he was doing like 30 or 40 miles. And so having this 20-mile march that you do this no matter what, whether it's one video a week, one video a month, whatever your pace is, you pick it and you stick to it and you do it. And that's really the tipping point. And that's one of the things that I'm shifting. So I'm really leaning into that for my YouTube, but it's also something I'm doing with my podcast where I'm doing one episode every single week. Before 2025, my podcast just was whenever I could do it or whenever I would do it or whenever I wanted to do it. It didn't have a cadence. But now that I'm getting serious about building this content creation as a business, is scaling it up and making it commercially viable where it earns an income. I have to be disciplined and do the things that I've got to do in order to grow it the way I need to grow it, in order to make it a platform that is of value for someone to sponsor content, sponsor videos, sponsor episodes. I'm also building a multimedia platform where I'm creating content that's video, audio, and written. I'm also images and graphic. So I'm taking these ideas and I'm putting them in a variety of different formats, in mediums, in channels, and pushing them out there. For me, it's about communicating these ideas in the channel and mediums and forms that people want to consume them in. And some people like video, some people like written. How do I reach them both? And if I create content in a way that allows me to do both, then I can reach both of those audiences. And I've been blogging since 2014, podcasting since 2020, and now YouTubing for 2025. Over 9 months into this YouTubing journey, I was posting my podcast to YouTube before that, but I really just saw it as a video hosting platform. I didn't really see or understand or appreciate the opportunity that is YouTube. And so I really leaned into that this year. Now, one of the things that I've done with my channel and the way that I'm approaching this is that I am leaning on the algorithm to deliver the content that I'm creating to the people that want to see it and to shield certain pieces of my content from people that don't want to see it. So I'm doing a variety of content on like business, freelancing, inspirational stories, podcast episodes, and I'm trusting that the algorithm is going to present the pieces of content to the people that want to see it, and that I won't show it to those that don't want to see it. And so what we've seen in the difference in YouTube and social media is that content is being delivered on a topical basis and on an individual piece of content. And so I can do one video on freelancing and it's going to show that to everyone that's interested in freelancing. I can do another video on small businesses and it's going to show those to people that are small business owners or interested in that topic. And it allows me to reach 2 different audiences without having to focus on one or the other. I can focus on both. I'm also doing a variety of other types of videos. I've done some travel videos. I've done some videos with my wife where we're converting our cargo van into a mobile book library. I'm videoing that and editing that into a story. And we got 16 episodes of that. I'm doing a variety of things, which are all just helping me. I'm learning things. I'm trying new things. It's really like a laboratory right now. And I think of it like packing dynamite. Like I'm building this video library, one video after the next, with the hopes that when things take off, there'll be this huge library of content that will take off with it. One of the things that I learned about writing books, and I'm working on my third book right now, is one of the ways to be successful as an author is to write a bunch of books and then have one of them become a hit. Because when people like your book, they want to read your other books. And so if you have a library of books, they want to go back and look at it. And so that's how I'm thinking about YouTube is I'm creating this library of content and I'm continuing to do that diligently. And so when a video takes off, and it's only happened for me at a small level, then it helps the other videos get more activity, more traction. And so I'm also anticipating that that's going to compound and grow as I have more and more videos and I have a bigger and bigger library and as I have more hits that come and go throughout this journey. And I have some really great videos in my library that I think deserve a lot more traction than they've gotten. And I think they'll get that. I think some of the cases I might have to play with the title or the thumbnail, but in some cases it's where it needs to be. And I'm just waiting for that seed to grow into something bigger. And I'm seeing some of those videos that I've done several months ago starting to pick up. They're getting shown on YouTube search. People are finding them and they're getting more traction in the algorithm. So I'm seeing some of those grow and I'm excited to see that. And I think more of those videos will get that as time goes on. I want to open up my YouTube studio and show you what my watch hours were for last month and how that compares for the year. So just give you a little snapshot of my journey. You can see this is my graph here for those of you that have not been following along my journey. I got started as getting serious about YouTube in January, and that's where I hit 66.72 watch hours, which was my biggest month, perhaps an all-time or at least for most of my time. I had started my channel in 2017 and I was just putting my podcast episodes on it, but I wasn't really doing a whole lot. In 2024, I started putting some clips on. One of them took off and I realized, wow, there's a lot of potential here. Now, part of my journey of learning more about YouTube and its upside and just how accessible it is, how realistic and accessible YouTube monetization actually is. Perhaps I might have thought of it in sort of the abstract sense, like it's something I could do. But when I actually learned, like it only takes 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers, that's pretty attainable. For most people, if they stick with it for a couple years, they can do that. In this graph, you'll notice this is the last year. So October, I was at 44. November, I was at 29. And December was at 49.5. Now, those 3 months were actually my highest months for the year. For the year, I averaged around 20. So these were like twice my average. So it's already starting to move up. And that's, again, where I saw the potential. January, I hit 66.72. February was 237. So it's still pretty high. Went down to 183 in March, 129 in April. In May, it was 176, June, 88, July, 59, and then August was 151. And then September was 98. Let's do published videos here. I did 26 in August and 26 in September. I did 18 in July and 14 in June, 23 in May, 32 in April, 28 in March. And then in February, I did 110, and then January, I did 77. So you can see like I was high in number of videos, and then I steadied out here. Watch hours for August was 151, and September was 98.23. 26 videos gets me about 100 watch hours, and I went a little over this month and went a little under this month. In August, I had my second best video, so that's why it was so much higher, 151. 70 of those watch hours are from this one video this year. The cool thing about September is even though it was only about 100 watch hours, the videos actually generated a lot of activity like as a portfolio. There wasn't any one that really stuck out a whole lot more than the others. But as a collective library, it helped carry me to the finish line. And I want to show you one graph here because one of the things that I'm really banking on is getting the library growing and getting old watch hour time up over time. In August, I was able to get up a lot and I kept it up, not quite as strong as in September as it was in August, but pretty strong compared to the months before. These are my old watch hours. And you'll notice I've kind of hovered around 10. And then I started to pick up in May, June, July. So all this library building, I started to pick up. Now, old watch hours are really any videos that I publish that are 4 months old or older. As I'm adding more videos, it's going to make sense that that library is going to have more of an impact. Hopefully. Is you can kind of see that starting to climb up in May, June, and July. And August, it just shoots up 31.44. Now, about 10 of those watch hours was one of my clips, my podcast clips, just took off. the topic was in the news, and so it became relevant to people that were interested in that topic. And so that video got like 10 watch hours. It was a short clip. It was like 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, but it just got a lot of views, picked up some steam. And so about 10 of those 31 watch hours, I think, are from that one video. And so that cut down in September. I got 21.673. Now, if I can maintain 21 watch hours per month, it's going to be 240 to 300 watch hours per year, right? Which isn't enough to get monetized. But if it's 10 a year, that's 120. So I'm already at double that. So if I can get the monthly watch hours from old videos to continue climbing, then it creates a baseline that I can build on. So new videos just have to fill the gap. To break the barrier, I add on my old watch hours on top of the new one. So the idea is to build that library and use that momentum to push past the monetization threshold. And you can look here at recent total watch hours. So recent is really the last 3 months. So you can see that's jumped up January and then February, and then it kind of dipped in March, went back up in May, and then June, and then July, August, September. So September, my recent watch hours was 31. So the recent is the last 3 months. So as those videos become 4 months older, they move into the old watch hours. So we should expect to see some of this recent watch hour time start to move up here in the old watch hours if the videos continue to perform as they get older. And so that's what I'm looking for month to month, is how much that's going to play an effect. In December, that's going to be a big deal because I'm not going to be publishing any videos in December. So all I'll have is old and recent watch hours, no new watch hours. So you can see here, this is new watch hours. January, February went skyrocketed, and then March, April, May did well, and then June and July, as I slowed down, dropped. August picked back up. September fell not as dramatically as July, but it fell a little bit. But you could see I had a lot of recent watch hours and a lot of old watch hours. And so it made the month work out because I had the library. That's a little insight into my analytics for the month. This week I turned 41. So I am a 41-year-old YouTuber. I'm YouTubing in my 40s. If that's you, post a comment below. Let me know. I should have started YouTube a long time ago. If there's one thing that's motivating me now, it's that I should have really gotten serious about it and been active doing all the things I'm doing for the last 20 years. But in hindsight, we can all look back and see those opportunities that we missed and want to take advantage of them. They say the best time to start was 20 years ago, 10 years ago, but the second best time is today. And if that's you, maybe this is your time to get started. I've hit the first rung on my way to 50, and hopefully by the time I hit 50, I'll be in a whole new place when it comes to YouTube and the content creation, and I'll look back and be glad that I had started, even if I did start late. It's important also to recognize that what I'm trying to do is get monetized on my own. And I don't mean on my own in like literal sense that everything I'm doing is completely by myself. My podcast requires someone else. But in terms of producing it, recording it, editing it, publishing it, packaging it, promoting it, it's me. I haven't invested a lot of money into this, and I haven't hired people to do things for me because I really want to get to the monetization threshold on my own. I want to learn the system, figure it out, get to that place. And by doing it organically, I can learn a lot of these things along the way. I'm essentially outsourcing, what works to them, and maybe they help me get there faster, but I don't learn those lessons in as much of a deep way that I really want to understand. And the other part of that is just making it financially viable. If I put all this money into hiring people to help me, and then I get to monetization, and I can't imagine I'm going to make a whole lot right away. It's all expenses. I'm not making a profit. I'm really looking to bootstrap this so that I can make it more financially viable. My goal is to earn $100,000 from content creation. And this year, I'm a little over 3% of the way there. So I've got a few sponsorships, I got some affiliates, I got some of my own products. I'm moving along. But if I were to spend that $3,000, paying people, then I wouldn't have made anything. And so what am I growing it for? And this is one of the things with freelancing is you can build a company and hire a bunch of people and get more clients, but if you're not actually making a profit, then why are you wasting all this time? Why are you doing all this hard work? What's it for? And so for my freelancing, instead of building a company, building an agency, I just started charging more, and that allowed me to earn the same amount of income, but work less hours. And that's how I was able to get to earning 6 figures working part-time, which then allows me to use the rest of my day to work on content creation. Now I got to figure out how to make that financially viable now that I'm getting serious about doing that, about that business model. You may be doing it yourself as well. You may be recording it, editing it, you may be doing most of it, all of it, or maybe parts of it yourself. and you're trying to approach it the same way. You don't want to just throw all this money as an expense to something that may not be profitable or may not work out. I have a lot of advantages because of my background and my experience, my skill sets that allows me to do a lot of these things myself. I want to just take advantage of those. And so my videos, I can do some editing, I can do some intermediate and even a few advanced things, but I generally just try to keep it pretty basic. Like this video, just keep it pretty simple and share really valuable information and insights and let that be the value as opposed to these really fancy production values. And so I'll certainly be experimenting with different production values and approaches and whatnot, but it's really about streamlining it, making it simple, easy, and fast, getting it published, going to the next thing, doing the next thing, and then just making it a little bit better. So those are a handful of the insights that I've learned. That's where I'm at in this journey. October will be another month where I do a report. I'll come back to you with another video and I'll share what I learned during the month of October. And that'll be the last video I do for the year. I won't do one about November because I'm taking a break in December. So if I do one about November, it will be in January, and it'll probably be a summary of the whole year and all the progress I made, the mistakes I've made, the lessons I've learned. I got one more video report coming to you. I've got a bunch of playlists for YouTube videos tracking my journey. I've done a video like this every single month, and I'm going to share this journey with people because I'm going to get monetized. I'm going to get there eventually, and I want to leave a trail for people that are coming after me that are maybe doing similar things, or maybe there's some overlap where there's some things that I'm doing or approaches I'm taking that other people can take. And I want to leave those breadcrumbs so that they can be successful in the same ways that I've been successful, and that I hope that they and you would be successful as well. So if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if you're a 40-year-old YouTuber or older. If you're younger, feel free to share where you're at in the journey and, embrace it, lean into it. Everyone should start a YouTube channel at a young age and just keep it and put a video on there at least a couple times a year. At some point, you might want to get more serious, but I think just like having a blog or just like having a social media account, like having a YouTube account where you do some things and experiment with some things, do it. I had a friend that I wanted to collaborate with on one of the videos that I published, and I invited him to do a little clip, and it was really hard for him to be confident in what he recorded to put it in the video, so we didn't end up using it. So there's something about just your personal development, becoming a better leader, becoming a better person, that by doing video, it helps you become those things. It helps you become a better version of you. And I'd encourage you to lean into that idea. Let video production, let YouTube be a vehicle to help you become a better leader. It has for me, and I know it will be for you. I'm Jason Scott Montoya, and I'll see you on the next one.
Are you a freelancer struggling to get clients and sustain an income? Check out Jason Montoya's book, Path of the Freelancer, where he provides the blueprint for mastering freelancing and sustaining a business of one. Start generating a six-figure freelancing income